All right, welcome to the Total Money Management Podcast. Trying my best not to say welcome back. We're going through the week that was.
There we go. How are we, gents?
Very well.
Young fellas. Spring. Is it spring? It's spring, isn't it?
Is it
spring or autumn?
No, it's going into autumn and then winter.
Okay, yeah. I
I
always get those mixed up.
I don't know seasons.
There aren't really seasons over.
There are two seasons, right? November to April. Remember?
There's hot and not hot.
Seasonality, boys. Seasonality.
Hot and wet.
Hot and wet.
And there's cold and dry.
Cold and dry. That's why we're now...
At the minute it's cold and wet.
What are we now? Explicit.
Yeah.
We're explicit. One of our podcasts has been classified as explicit.
No, I think there's probably a handful. Apple's split them into two groups. So.
I'll stop saying bullshit all the time.
Yeah, please.
Okay. Right, what do we got?
We've got the week that was May 6 to 10. Key points we're going to kind of focus on today. Property similarities, US valuation metrics, rates on hold, COVID trouble, valuations, and trade issues continue to rise.
I think there's a lot on this one about Uncle Warren
Uncle
as well.
He's like Grandpa Warren now at 93.
I know, still kicking.
He can't be your uncle.
Well, you
think he can be your uncle if you're like my age.
Yeah, that's
right?
true.
You think about that, though.
He
I'm
could be
61 and I could
be-
go, Uncle Warren. It's like, Jesus.
No, he could be Daddy Warren for you.
Yeah. If he was Daddy Warren to me, mate, I wouldn't be on this bloody podcast.
I think we figured out his trick, though, right? You just live off,
make shitloads of money.
and live off Coke and steak, and then you get rich.
Yeah. But it's not funny because, like all of us here are talking about exercise and, you got to eat right and, you see all this stuff, all that bullshit about, you got to get up at 5 and you got to meditate, you got to do an ice bath and, blah, blah, blah. There's Warren Buffett, 93, basically exists on steak and Coca-Cola, does bugger all exercise, right? It's got one interest, money. And there he is at 93 and he's absolutely loaded.
He's killing it.
He's probably got some world-renowned doctor that he's paying $1 million a month to keep him alive.
I reckon he just doesn't care. I reckon he just goes, who cares? I just have Coke and steak and I don't give a shit what else everybody thinks or what the science is.
Do you reckon he does those leg exercises you do?
Fair bit of
he might have
McDonald's.
Might have a weak core. Yeah. But he did say, if you read the book by, I can't remember that lady's name, Snowball, right, which was the biography of Buffett, she said what he did with his children was, and I think it was with him too, I think it was him, not his kids. He said, I have a certain amount of calories that I'm allowed to eat, and that's what I stick to. And so if he made the calories by Coke and steak, that was fine by him. But it was like, for example, 1,000 calories, right, a day or something. And with his kids, he used to pay them not to eat sugar. He used to say to them, well, if you don't eat the Kit Kat, right, I'll give you $1 or something like that. Like all these, but everything's money incentives for Warren, right? Fuck. Everything's just about, well, his wife, I was saying to a friend during the week, someone said, is he active in any sort of charities and stuff? And I said, there's actually two. One was anti-nuclear stuff. He gives a lot of money to anti-nuclear stuff. And the other one was Planned Parenthood, or the opposite, like women's right to have an abortion.
Unplanned.
They were the two things he was really big on. And his wife, Susie, said at the time, Warren, you should really promote this stuff a lot, because that'd be really good and you should get more involved. And he basically said, Susie, I make the money, I'll give you the money and you do what you want with the money. But I'm really good at making money and that's what I'm going to stay with. So that was his, because Buffett talks about his circle of competence, find out what you're good at and stick with it. And that's a guy who's like, yep, I'm good at making money. That's what I'm doing. I'll make the money, I'll give it to you. And Susie, you give it to the girls, whatever, that's fine. But I'm making the money.
There you go.